Today on the table, I've got the Dell G3 2019 revision. Now, let's do a bit of a zoom in on the product code down the bottom here. But in today's video, I'm just going to be tearing it down just to see what the RAM configuration is, what future expansion this machine can potentially have, and also just to check out the cooling that's in there. As with this Dell, as with most Dells, is relatively straightforward. All you need is a medium to small Phillips head screwdriver, and all the screws themselves are in obvious locations. So far, the ones nearest to the hinge itself don't want to fully come out. They will undo and freely spin, but they won't be completely removed, as opposed to the front ones just here, which are happy to come out. And if you can get them out, I would recommend removing them before you try to remove the bottom cover, purely to stop them from flying across the room. So I've nearly finished undoing all these screws, and then from here I'll just see if I can just reef it. Now just reattempting these ones. So from here I'm going to grab my little pizza cutter, or just a thin plastic pry tool, and I'll see if I can separate the blue and white from the black. There we go. So that is separating. Now it hasn't separated to the extent that I could just grab it and reef it open, so you will have to continue prying around it. There we go, still lifting. Now it does seem to be snagged near to the hinge, which I believe it's due to the design and the shape of the body, how it kind of curves back underneath itself. So because of that, I'll continue prying at the front of the machine first, which does seem to be coming apart relatively easily. There we go. So it does feel like these screws are still threaded, but they aren't. You just need to be a bit more accurate with the prying. So as you can see, I can move the back cover, but it doesn't want to separate still. I can't see any hidden screws, so it's purely around these hinge area that it seems to be stuck. Yep, none of them screws are threaded. As we can see, I'm snagged right here. There we go. And with that off, it should come off relatively easily from there. And we're in. So the first thing I'm seeing is the copper pipes that seem to be fully interconnected GPU and CPU. And right down here, with this copper, little bit of copper cooler, is the M.2 or the NVMe SSD in this particular drive. And I can see a little collar for a hard drive right here. So you can also add a 2.5 inch SATA, or if you want to go down the standard conventional hard drive in there. So right now I'm just undoing that and just having a look. There we go. Yep, neatly folded away is this little flex connector, which would connect to where it says hard drive just there, which just flicks up. You would slide it in and then push it back down. So this is the hard drive enclosure itself is held in by 3 screws, the top, to the right and to the bottom. But one thing I've just noticed, down the bottom here, there's your 4 screws to screw the hard drive in. So a nifty little bit of engineering there. So I'll just put this back into place. So far everything seems to be laid out in a fairly standard manner, especially compared to other i5 9300s and 1650/1660 models. Now I am curious with this, how small are we? Being this is a 512 gig one. Go. Remove the thermal pad. What have we got here? So we've got a small Toshiba NVMe. This bit here, I do have a little bit of drama getting that copper cooler or heat spreader back over the NVMe SSD. So we'll just see me battle on for a minute here. At first I thought that had to slip over the whole M.2, but I believe it just sits on top of it. So it doesn't slide under, but it just sits and just touches it. So you can watch me battle that just for the minute. There we go, that is now aligned. So it did take a little bit to get that to actually reconnect. The next device I'm looking at here is the Wi-Fi card, which I couldn't actually spot any particular brand on there, so being I couldn't see a brand or anything like that, I'm assuming it's about the cheapest wireless card you could probably get your hands on. The next thing that did surprise me on this machine, first of all, here's the battery, 51 watt hours, filling up that full section. And looking at the DDR4, I was expecting this to be in single channel. So if you push the notches on the side, you should be able to lift it up. And if I can get this in focus, see it's a Kingston stick of 4 gig, 2666. So there's two 4 gigs in this machine, which for dual channel performance is worthwhile. If you're wanting to add more capacity, you will have to replace both of these if you still want to retain dual channel performance. Or else you're going to be combining an 8 with a 4. There we go, reinstalled. And now let's do a quick general overview of the board itself. As you can see, it's got a pretty standard CMOS battery there. The connectors for the keyboard and the keyboard backlight. Going up the side here, I can see that the power connector itself is removable, which is good if you accidentally damage that. It is a relatively straightforward replacement. And then scrolling over here, we can see the copper heat pipe, which is 2 large heat pipes interconnected. So, time to get this back together. I'm not going to bother replacing the thermal paste on at this point. I may do that in a future video, but at this point it seems to be running okay. To put the back cover on, you'd want to latch it over the back of the or near the hinge, and then pull it forward towards yourself. And right now I'm just clicking it back into position. And then from here, once it's all fully clicked back into position, simply just reinstall reinstall the Phillips head screws, and then from there you should have your machine fully reassembled, ready to go once more. So while I do that, I'm just going to simply head off. I'm going to let the video play out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.